we could start. All right, so I try to. My name is Manuel. Ya me conocen, soy el maestro de danza. Hi, I'm Manuel. I just introduced myself. I'm glad at least some of y'all make it. I want to thank Carlos for recording this. I know he's going live, making me nervous. Get on video live, but yeah, I'm glad that you're taking the time and opportunity to put this information out there, so folks will have a little bit better idea um, of what it is to create an altar for Dia de Muertos and actually what it means. So from kind of from the beginning, we'll do some. I'll talk about the origins of it, why the altares are made. You guys might have an idea, and also what altares have become today, and how the synchronicity of the mestizo or the indigenous cultures and their beliefs, how it's all mixed in now with also the Christianity and Catholicism, and it's all represented in the altar. There's more chairs, or you can sit up front. Don't be shy. It's okay. Vénganse. Vénganse. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you, Mateo. Ay, so yeah. So once again, this class is about the origins of the Altares de Dia de Muertos, how we began to do this, why, and we'll talk about there's different levels of altares. You know, usually we see the typical ones we see are 3 to 4 levels, but it's up to 9, right? So there's 3, 4, 5 levels, 7 levels, and 9 levels. So we just go there really quick. So the altar is basically this tradition started. It's a Mesoamerican tradition uh, that's all through Mexico and Central and South America, parts of South America that they always we ancestors are most honored our dead. Um, Not only during these months, but throughout the year, throughout our practices, we always recognize the thin line between life and death all the time. It's in a lot of our symbolism um, that we use in art, just as a reminder that we're always, walking hand in hand with death. And we teach our children it's not a bad thing. We get them used to this imagery, so they're not afraid of it, right? It's not like something morbid, like, oh my God, somebody passed away. So we were taught that when you die, when somebody passes away, it's a transition of your soul, right? Of your body. We leave this form and then we go somewhere else. All of us have our different belief systems, but a lot of cultures in all the world believe that our soul, that our body transforms and goes to a different place. Traditionally, in the Mexica, Zapotec, Olmec, and Mayan cultures, when we pass away, our souls or our other body goes to a place called Mictlan, or the underworld, right? And to get there is different levels to the Mictlan. I forgot to bring the posters of that. Um, right? And also depending on how the person passes away, uh, it's a different passage for everybody. So, right? So that's why really most of some of you guys heard some of the days that are dedicated to the children. There's 2 days. So October 30th and 31st are dedicated to the kids. To the kids that passed away in accidents or passed away as babies. So October 30th and 31st, those 2 days are dedicated to the children, right? And then um, November 1st is dedicated to people who died, tragic victims of murder, of bad accidents, right? November 2nd is basically for all those souls. And in between there, with the children, there's also a special place in the altares for the women who passed away during childhood. So that's another thing that we'll talk about. That a lot of people don't incorporate in their altares. So the altares, like I said, at different levels, they're all the way from 3 to to 5. Who has an idea why they're, let's see, I'll make it easy for you guys that are avanzantes. Who know the popular. Why do you think people make altares? The typical altar is 4 levels. Any,
For directing?
for yes, yes and no. For what else is for it in our daily life? Four.
Elements.
4 elements. Yes, 4 elements. The 4 levels of altar represent the 4 elements. Right? So on the altar, um, the smaller it is, the more personal it is. So if you have un altar de dos niveles, you're representing the underworld, yes, and the heavens, right? The afterlife. So the floor, the bottom part represents the underworld, like represents death, and the top of your altar, wherever you put it, represents the afterlife, the heaven too, where the spirits have to go, and so on and so forth. So the more levels that you put onto your altar, all the way up to 7, is represents all those levels that your soul has to take that trip to get to the light, basically, right? Another belief that they have is when they do altares antiguamente of 9 levels, what do you think the number 9 represents? 9. 9 meses de qué?
Gestation.
The gestation, right? So the same way you start your life, 9 months in your mom's womb, it takes 9 levels to go back home. So the opposite direction. So there's 9 levels and 9 steps. I have a ring, you can't see it from my girl, but it has seven levels, 7 steps to get to past that state to get to the other side of when you pass away. So 7 escalones. 7 is a magical number in our cultures. So is number 13, and so is number 9, for lots of reasons. You can go deep into that, or I won't get to that just yet. Um, so yeah, let's see. Another thing, I know some of us here have relatives that just passed away, like this year, and some of us don't. One of your that passed away last year. Okay. But something very important that I also learned from my grandparents, and so I'm taking these notes down, remembering what my grandma and grandpa taught me, which they're right here. My mamá Esperanza and my grandpa Jesus. We'll talk about those things right now. Uh, we don't put the people that just passed away before Dia De Los Muertos on the altar, right? Because they just passed away and they're not ready to welcome in the spirits. They're actually in the afterlife right now, like waiting, guiding everybody else, and waiting for their turn for next year. You have to spend because they're still going through the levels, right? They're still going through those steps, still to get to come back to the light, come back to the place of the living, right? So, and that's represented on the altares by you see the arch over there. So a lot of altars have an arch like that they build in back of the altar, or like triangle shape, or even a square one with flowers. So what arches means, that's on November 2nd, that's where they walk through. They, they go to the arch, and that they're going back home. So when you make your altar, haces una cruz, it's like, again, this is the synchronicity. Some people relate it to the Christian aspect of it. Some people it's originally it's related to the 4 directions. So it's welcoming the camino de los muertos, for the people that passed away, showing them the path to the altar, to the different levels. Then you have the different levels of altar with different things that we'll talk about right now. And then at the end, they walk to that arch and they go home. They go back. That's what that arch represents. La Cempasúchil, Xochitl, la flor de 400 pétalos. Sempuali in Nahuatl means 400, right? So 20, it goes in counts of 20. Sempuali, 400, Xochitl, flor. La Cempasúchil represents la luz, right? Since represents the sunrise and the sunset, right? It's like la luz when the sun comes out and when the sun sets. O mejor dicho, cuando naces y cuando te mueres. Todos somos luz. We're all light. When we're born, we go with the light. When we pass away with the light. All right? So that simple switching represents that. Represents the light. When you first start your life and you go to that whole transition, that 180, because everything's a circle, right? So this plane, our ancestors believe, is only 180. It's half of the circle. The whole 360 is the other 180 that's underneath this, the other part. where we go to after we go away. 180 degrees is below us, or right? That's the other part. So the cempasúchil, the flower represents la luz or el sol, and that's why it's used on the altares, and also because it has a very distinct aroma to it too, right? That they say that the deceased are attracted to that aroma de la cempasúchil. Pues tiene un olor, la flor, que atrae a los muertos, right? So that's another. Let's see. So we'll start with the different levels of altares. Uh, the most popular one, and we'll go through them here. So starting from the bottom up, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the first level uh, of altar, like I said, we usually we will create una cruz, a cross of flowers. So cempasúchil flowers and also white flowers. The white flowers on the altares represents the babies or the kids that passed away. So there's la inocencia, las flores blancas representan a los niños y bebés que se nos fueron. So we use white flowers, yellow flowers cempasúchil, and then red flowers represents la sangre, represents the blood of life, the blood of death. So white, red, and yellow flowers. And that's the first level, which is also represented by what? From the ground represents what element? The earth, right? So when you put your altares down below, you put the flowers y una plantita. Un margellito, an aloe vera, something that represents the earth. That's the first level. That's what the camino that you're going to welcome in the spirits, the dead, to come to your altar, to come say hi, to come and eat, to come and congregate with the other spirits. And as the day goes by, they're gonna go through that arch. The second level is for the water. Second level of your altar should be dedicated to agua. So un vaso de agua, um, a jar of water, una copita. Nowadays, a lot of people like to use killer Coca-Cola. En México, que la gente está muriendo por cientos y miles cada año with this poison here. But since it's like representation, so many people have died from diabetes, like in Mexico, Central and South America, that this is very popular to have on your altar, like Coca-Cola. Also, the tobacco, which I'll get to next, right? Tobacco is a good thing, but unfortunately, a lot of people passed away from cigarette smokes and cancer. So you'll see caquitas de cigarros in los altares. But the second level is the level for the element of the water, and that's to also las almas llegan de su viaje from the underworld. They come thirsty, so van a beber agua. They're gonna need water when they get to that second level, right? So the altar tiene que tener su agua. Let's see. The third level of your altar should have la comida. So like on altar, you see fruits and pan de muerto, which are not indigenous to this belief, but it was incorporated by the Spaniards. Pero la comida, also the spirits come hungry. There's a little mini mesa aquí con pan de muerto, con elote, con unos chilaquiles, unos chiles rellenos, unas frutas. So that's the third level. The third level is para darle de comer as the spirits, but as they cross back and come visit us. The fourth level, let's see, is to honor imagery of your loved ones, so photos, right? Way back when they didn't have photographs, they will put something that would belong to your relative, un collarcito, un anillo, una ropa, right? Like some item of clothing, a piece of jewelry, something to remember that to welcome back that specific person or persons to your altar, so they can be familiar. Oh, there I am. Furthermore, they used to put the pictures backwards with the mirror in front of it, so they could recognize themselves, and so you could see who they are. They could see who they are, so they don't get lost. So the pictures will be backwards. They wouldn't be like this. Nowadays, we put them like this because we want everybody to see our relatives. But our relatives, when they come, a veces they don't know who they are. So ponen un espejo in front with their picture facing it, so they can see themselves. Like, hey, I'm here. I'm home, right? But now we don't really do it anymore. That's an interesting thing that I remembered and I read about is that when they started making the altares, they will use mirrors for the pictures to the deck to recognize themselves when they come back. Um, el quinto, the fifth nivel is dedicated to the element of the air or the wind, right? Allí vas a tener tu copalito, vas a tener también around a lot of people de ahí viene la tradición del papel picado para las fiestas, you put the papel picado, across the street or in salones. When it moves, the papel picado represents wind, the air. So it's the air element, right? So in every party, you're gonna have drinks, right? Agua or alcoholic beverages or sodas, unfortunately. You get that, so it's representing earth. So papel picado, wind, water, and what else? What's the other element? Fire. Fire. Right? Fire when you cook. When you cook. So, ahí se pone, en el quinto piso, se pone tu ofrenda de tu copalito. This is a incense burner right here. It's my personal one, but a lot of people have different ones, different types, different styles. But that's where you burn your incense. Para que el aire element takes those prayers up into where they're supposed to go. Y también se pone allí el papel picado if you have some on that level of altar to represent el viento, the wind, the air element. Let's see. So we're on six. On six, you ask the level of the altar besides the bottom that's saturated more with flowers. Flowers para los niños. So the fifth level is dedicated for the kids. So ese va usually can be decorated mostly with white flowers and with red flowers. So the fifth level of the altar is for the kids, para los kids, los niños y niñas que fallecieron. The third level is dedicated to those souls that are lost. They're basically in limbo, or we call it in Spanish, you went to catechism when you were kids, purgatorio, right? Purgatory, purgatorio. So those lost souls.
Wait, the sixth level is
Fifth level. Fifth level is for the kids. Yeah.
And the seventh level?
That's the fifth level for the kids. Sixth,
Fifth level for the kids?
yes, for the kids.
The one that represents the wind?
Yes. And then we're on five right now. That's for the lost souls that are in purgatory or in limbo, that haven't found their way. Usually that level is, like I said in the beginning, October 30th. October 30th, that day, and 31st for the kids. November 1st is for those people that died tragically, that were murdered or died like tragic accident, just boom, right? Kind of that kind of thing there. So a lot of souls get lost or get stuck. They don't know which direction to go. So you dedicate that altar, part of the altar, to try to guide those spirits, home to where they're supposed to go. Right? So estamos ya en el cuarto nivel, right? Fourth level. Oh, sorry, I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
Ya en el siete.
Seis.
Seis. Siete. Yeah, you're right, seven. So el siete, the very top of the seventh level is the level of protection, along with with your archers or your cordeles de flores. That's the very top level. So basically, like la cima, the top of the pyramid, if you could put it that way. And that's where you colocan, again, the synchronicity into Christianity and the indigenous ways. You would put like a deity or an offering that's protecting the altar. So some people put la Quetzalcoatl or Mayahuel or a la muerte, ¿verdad? A Nikitsi, who is the ruler of those days. Some people put a cross of Jesus or la Virgen de Guadalupe o la Virgen de los Remedios, o el Santo Niño de Atocha, or what's the other popular Santo? San Judas, right? Which all those saints and virgins have something else behind culturally to us, right? La Virgen de Guadalupe represents the Mother Conceived, the Mother Earth, right? El Santo Niño de Atocha represents Huitzilopochtli, right? So there's been imagery that was put on these altars to cover up our indigenous roots, imagery and deities that we used to practice in these things. And the reason for that, during the Inquisition, they couldn't, the church and the state couldn't completely erase our indigenous traditions, including danza for you guys are danzantes. The danzantes had to trade their tambores for mandolinas, and you couldn't dress the way they wanted to dress. Everything was covered up, and you couldn't burn incense because it was considered witchcraft. So, again, there was things that had been traded and substituted as far as imagery goes uh, uh, to accommodate, right? So these could keep going on, and our people could practice their ancient ways, uh, cohabitating with the church. So another thing in the altares that's been missing that you guys don't see very often anymore, también los altares que no se ve, es las imágenes de los perritos, especially these perritos. ¿Ves no al perrito? Los cholos, sí, cholos squinkles, los cholos squinkles. Those are the guides for the souls to the underworld. Son los guías. There are guides, and there are our guides in real life. They're our best friends, and they guide us. They guide the blind and they guide the handicapped. They guide dogs, but they're very special. Dogs are very special in our culture because they're also represents with the guide to the underworld. So when we pass away, these are the first beings that greet us, going down to the seven levels of the underworld. It's a cholo, somos un compañero, and that's been lacking. I've been doing altares for almost 20 years now in different festivities, and very rare that I see somebody who represents a los cholos on their altar. Right? It's rare, and these should go away at the bottom of your at the bottom level too, basically at the entrance of your altar. That's who's going to greet you as you come in. So that's the representation of the cholos. Okay. The altares también also very saturated for many reasons with candles. Candles, represents a path of light for the souls to come in, so you can see it from far away. There's my kind of like a airplane landing, right? It's a path of light far away, and also it's recommended once you light a candle, if you light it like on the 31st October, keep it on until November 3rd, until all the souls survive. Because if you turn, they say, I learned if you turn it off before, or if you can keep it on before, if you can't turn it on, keep it on. If you can't turn it on to turn it on and off, that's not good because you're confusing. Because some of the people stay, no se van, se pierden. So when you turn on that light on the 31st, you keep that vela on, and usually like a normal size candle, lasts about 2-3 days. That más o menos, right? So that's what they say. That's another reason why you see the candles made most of the time in that size, right? They're about like 10 inches, 10, 12 inches tall. it's for that reason, because they're supposed to last for 2.5, 3 days. Once you light it, leave it lit. So it's highly recommended by the older generation. Once you light that candle, déjala prendida. You know, and like in Mexico, when we were kids and we used to go to a funeral, we light a candle for that person, and they will leave it lit until the candle is out. No la tocabas, no la apagabas. Very important. So those are those are the cameras. So let's see, talk about that. Um, do you guys have any questions about the elements that you see on normally in una chat? Una pregunta. Before, before I keep going. Nancy.
Y en el dos, cuando dijo que se ponen las aguas, el agua, que representa el agua, se puede poner también la...
Sí. Sí, so, usualmente sí, y todo tiene su lugar, right? Everything has its place. Si vas a hacer tu altar, como por ejemplo aquí de 2 niveles, pues vas a try to have a little bit, un poquito de todo en tu altar, pero tratar de tenerlo en su lugar. No vas a poner el agua hasta mero abajo, con el agua aquí arriba. Y abajo puedes poner todas tus flores y arriba vas a poner tu agua, tu fuego, las fotos y la comida. Right? También also because of respect. You're not going to put your humo on the floor. You're not going to put your food on the floor, right? It's a preference for them. Your relatives, the dancers, just come back and they eat arriba y no abajo. So, any other questions about that?
You said that a lot of times it's just 3 levels. What would be the third level?
So again, it's just kind of like consolidating the levels. So you would use like the third level for the water, and food. If you have 3 levels, so the first level, which would be your floor level, will be all the flowers, tu cruz, tu caminito. You know, the third level will be for the elements, and the top level will be for dedicated to your loved ones. You put their pictures, decorations, flowers, all your candles. The candles start from the top to the bottom to your candles. They go everywhere, everywhere. Let's see what else I can talk about. So, también from what I understand, in about the early 1900s, up to 1920s, el pan de muerto was introduced to the altares. Eso no es algo que, not something that existed in pre-Hispanic times, because we didn't have flour in Mesoamerica, so they didn't create that kind of pan, right? That pan was flour was imported from Europe and from the Middle East. So the story behind the pan de muerto is that the priests and the people that were involved in the church were kind of afraid of what our ancestors did as far as the altar. They were kind of like, oh, it's witchcraft, we gotta hurry up and try to, So they would, the pan de muerto, they created the pan de muerto of wheat, because flour in those times was scarce in our part of the world, which is here, here in Mexico. So they use wheat and they put it in the form of a crossbones, kind of to be like, oh, this is bad, like don't, kind of like stay away, right? See that sign, the crossbones?
Poison.
Yeah, like poison, right? So it's kind of like un aviso to everybody else who wasn't indigenous, finding with the crossbones. This is not very good. So if you see this, you know what this is. So it was kind of not a very good reason why the pan de muerto was incorporated into the altares. But then again, our ancestors are very ingenuitive, so they thought, oh, this is great, it represents, what this, so we just incorporate too. They welcomed it because they were used to seeing that kind of imagery, right? But the priesthood and everything that put that there as a warning, as a warning that making an altar and burning incense wasn't a very good thing. So they did it they did it for not so good reasons. So that's the pan de muerto is just another offering. It's just incorporated now to another piece of food to have in the altar to offer to the to your loved ones. Has anybody ever ate anything off an altar?
Huh?
Has anybody alguien ha comido comida de un altar? Never, right? You shouldn't, right? Right? What do you think?
Uh, because it's food for them, right? They say that you're not supposed to make food because you've already given it to them. It's their energy in you.
Right, right.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's trying to say, ya tiene su esencia of your loved ones that came, right? And I've seen kids kind of running around later on, they pick food off of fruit, off of that attack, and they getting sick. Se enferman, right? Porque eso ya tienen tanta energía, even if you live for one day, even overnight, you're supposed to eat it. What do you do with it? You, what do you do? Even with the water. Yeah, you bury it. You're supposed to bury it. Don't throw it. Yeah, you're supposed to just throw it in the trash or dump it down the toilet. So debe, either you reuse it in your garden, like you mulch it up and you give it to the plants, or you bury it. Same thing with the water, you go throw it in la tierra. Throw it in the dirt, you don't just throw it in the sink or throw it in the toilet. It's the Pokemon has.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, so that's another thing that making the altares that we don't talk about is the act of you pick everything up and pack everything up and you tear it, you tear it down. Also with the flowers too, don't throw the flowers away to put down the book. Even the simple sochi, when it's fresh, it's actual flower, not the synthetic ones because we can't use them here because there's because they won't last even without water. But as far as también, like I said before, the flowers have a certain smell. Tienen un olor. When they dry up, you can put them in your incense burners and you can burn the flowers too. You can burn the flowers too. If you're not gonna bury them out in the backyard or in the side yard or in the front yard with the rest of your fruit and food that you use for your altar, you can actually burn them, right? And then you have ashes and you can just dump the ashes and spread them outside. Pero tampoco no se tiran. Don't just toss them like they were done going to the trash. Right, so that's another thing. Let's see. I'm trying to get through all my notes as evenly as possible. So does everybody get what the levels mean? Like more or less. Like say we could do from 2 all the way to 9. To 9 levels. So más o menos, right? You guys have an idea, you know. So it's kind of a backwards thing, like you said, of the tradition. The 9 months, the 9 months that you spent in your mother's womb are also the opposite way. The 9 levels that you have to go to get to your destination after you pass away. Carlos, you have any questions?
So when you say the levels, they're actual physical levels,
Yeah,
or
you can
or they're
represent the
just
actual physical levels on an altar. You can
okay,
also make it like a pyramid shape.
right?
9 different levels, 7 different levels, 5 different levels. The most common ones that we see, are three and 4 levels. If the
Okay.
space is really small, like in your home, your apartment, you'll make 2 levels, but then you'll saturate it. Saturate it. Try to fit everything in the best way possible. But antiguamente, they were all the way from 4 up to 9. If you do like a community altar, like some pueblos do, like in Mexico, like in my town, like where I'm from, in Michoacan, a lot of people do community altars. There'll be like one block will have like one big altar for all the families on that block, and there'll be like 7 to 9 levels. You'll see pictures and food and stuff for all the families that live on that block. You go to a different block and there'll be a different altar, stuff like that. Decorated very elaborate. It's not a competition. Just everybody puts what they think is beautiful and appropriate for their levels. That's also what we're trying to create here in the space is kind of the same thing. Is invite the community to make their altares and do their representation, in either as a family or as a group or as like we do here, like as the grupo de danza, to encourage us to put our stuff together. Our our relatives had many friends. It wasn't just us in their life. We had friends, we had community members, they had jobs. So we were taught that making a community altar or entre like familia and friends is like very important and very special. Not just this is just mine and I'm gonna do it my way. It's just my mom and my dad and my nobody else. That our ancestors are with other people, right? They're beings of light now, and they're on another plane with other souls, or call it what you want. They're not by themselves. So when they come, there's other souls, there's other beings welcoming, guiding them in. And nunca están solos, they're by themselves. So having different family members and different friends and from the community or from outside the family on your altar that you can incorporate is also very important. Even pets, right? Tu gato, tu perro, I always put a picture of my dog on my altar because he's part of the family. So we also do that as well. Um, Another thing that we don't normally use now, well, we do. You always see a bottle of tequila or a bottle of mezcal, Budweiser, and a Modelo, alcohol, right?
Yeah.
A lot of our relatives, pass away from alcoholism or accidents or alcohol related. But actually, alcohol is also represented on the level of on the ground level. On the first level, lo que es la tierra, so Mayahuel, Mayahuel, los remedios, and that was also represented by pulque. So pulque, which is the first one of the first extracts you take from the planta de maguey, besides the aguamiel, is pulque. So pulque is always a jar of pulque on the altar, either where you put the water at on that level or at the very bottom, right? Because it represents both. It represents the plant and it also represents um, drinking. So the water drinking. So that's another thing. Well, here I feel like pulque, right? It's very very rare that you find somebody who makes pulque. I know a guy in Elko who makes pulque and he brings it over to Antioch once a week. He comes to my house and he comes to work. Hey, tengo pulque. But yeah, it's not very common. Pero, so aquí we use una botella de tequila, una botella de mezcal, and whiskey, or whatever it is. But it's actually that tradition started with that, right? But again, they tell you, ponle algo a tu difunto, put something for your loved one that he or she liked. Oh, my dad liked tequila. Oh, my dad liked cigarettes. Put cigarettes. Another ofrenda that was also very important in uh, before this got colonized was semillas or de cacao, right? Chocolate seeds.
Yeah.
Chocolate seeds. Chocolate seeds were more revered than gold or silver. That's what they used. That was money. That was very highly graded. Cocoa seeds on the altar, right? And also, oops, sorry. It also represented to take away the bitter taste of death out of your mouth, like if it dulce la vida, right? To make death a little sweeter. And also, like I said, also it was cacao seeds were very prized, so it also represented wealth and well-being. El tobacco also is medicine, right? So there's always an offering of tobacco on the altares. Tobacco is medicina, so always tobacco in some way or another. Now we use cigarettes, unfortunately. I don't like the idea, so a veces I see a cigarette and I might take it apart, just put tobacco there
Yeah.
and take away everything else. But esa es la medicina. La medicina está en tu copal. When you bring your incense, when you bring your copal, when you offer your tobacco, or when you offer your food. right? You got a little bit of each element. So those are the reasons why I would like to encourage you all to take a couple of steps back in the way you look at making an altar from now on, and kind of going more back towards the roots of how this is all created, and to do a little bit more in-depth investigation of what each level means, and because there's a lot to like each each thing, you know. Um, like I said, Dia de Muertos is not just November 2nd. You know, it starts that whole week, but when the actual uh, days start to Tawatam and experience is on the 30th. So it's like 3 or 4 days. Let's see, 30th, 31st, first, and the second, and you tear everything down on the third. So you take down your tires. Son 5 días, really. It's not just November 2nd, Dia de Muertos, yeah, se comenzó y se acabó. No, it starts before that, a few days before that. And if you follow the Mesoamerican calendar, right now we're going through what change right now? The equinox, which is we're leaving summer and what's coming? Fall, right? What happens in the fall? Yeah, besides the leaf fall, the fruit starts to wither, you know, on the vines and the trees, starts to die, right? Starts to transform. So, de ahí viene la palabra Mikitzli. Mikitzli doesn't only mean muerte, but it also means transformation. Transformation from life to death. Mikitzli, Miquetzli. Mikitzli. But, yeah, which is also another deity related to that that's called Shipetotek. Shipetotek means the one who tears off his skin, or the one that transforms it, right? To take him off his old skin to get him ready, and he gets all wrinkled up during the fall season and during the winter season, and then in spring he takes off the old skin and he grows new skin. The shipetote, like I said, reencarna.
Is that what the butterfly represents?
Also, too, yeah, all represents transformation.
Okay.
Yeah, transformation. The cocoon. The cocoon. So yeah, so Mikitsli. So when you guys see, in our artwork, in our symbolism, you know, on the pyramids, on the las calaveras are very, it's a big uh, not only art wise but symbolism in our culture, right? It's everywhere. We're one of the few cultures that actually, como dice en México, yo no temo la muerte. I'm not afraid of death. Porque la muerte anda conmigo, because death is always with me. So my grandma say, since the day you're born, death has you by the hand. That's all of rich, poor, women, men, poor. We're rich. We're all gonna go to the same place. So, we were taught by our ancestors not to be afraid of death, but look at it as another step to of transition. It was never like it was never taught. Once the Christianity came into our culture, they made it scary. Like, oh, te vas a morir, te vas a ir al cielo, te vas a ir al infierno. When you die, you go to heaven or you go to hell. And that was it. There was nowhere in between. There was no alternative. So when you see something like this, you thought about the worst, like what the end. It's scary. It's demonic, and it's hard to decolonize your mind, your mentality over what imagery of death is. But then again, it's ironic because Christians worship an image that has dead human being hanging from the cross, right? So, and a teacher told me a long time ago, un maestro me dijo, humans are always evolving. And I promise you, 200 years from now, people are going to look at us now and be like, wow, those people used to worship a guy that's hanging from the cross. What was wrong with them? The same way we look at people 500 years ago. What were they doing? They were worshiping this being that had 5 hands and fangs and a tail of a snake. They were crazy. Like I said, you guys say the same thing about us 200-300 years from now. Todo va a transformar, right? So we evolve. What doesn't change are the facts. You're born, We grow, we transform, different stages, right? And then we go, start over again, right? We go back to we come from the earth, we go back to the earth. And all those elements, all that transformation is always represented in the altar. So, long story short, the altar is what it represents the beginning and the end. The beginning and the end. The arcos, the cempasúchil represents the sunrise and the sunset. You're born, your birthday, and your date of death. Start and you end. So the altar of the Dia De Los Muertos represents transformation, the reminder of that transformation. That's a reminder that in life we have to go through different steps. We're always going to go to different levels until we get there. And then the opposite thing happens to you. And you also go. So it's just another cycle. We change. We believe that we change states of being, but we're always light, but we never go away. Another thing I say too is when you remember your dead, they never died, right? So as long as somebody, when you have kids, talk to your kids about about your father or about your mother, so they can remember their grandparents and their great grandparents. I have I'll show you. I passed it down. So I found this about 15 years ago, and I should have made it a little bigger, but I found this little picture at my grandpa's house. And we didn't let my grandpa go back home because he was already in his 90s, and my grandma passed away, and he didn't want to be there by himself. So, we took a trip to his house, and we kind of, put things away from him, and I found this picture, and I didn't steal it, but I kind of did. Nobody has it, And I brought it home and I made it a little bigger. Then I showed my grandpa, hey, can you tell me who these people are? I didn't recognize any people. Nobody. I don't know who the person is. He's all that guy right there. That's me. And at that time, my grandpa was 96. He passed away when he was 101. And that's your Uncle Ray. I knew he passed away when I was a kid. And I'm like, who's that guy in the middle? He's like, that's your great grandpa. That was my grandpa. And then he told me that's where your name comes from. So only me and my dad share that name. Nobody else in the family, grandkids, or everybody have that name, Manuel. So, and I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I want to keep his name alive. I don't want to forget him. And then I had, when my kids were growing up, I always told them, hey, this is your great grandpa Manuel. Your great grandpa Manuel. This is where my name comes from. Your grandpa's name comes from. And look at him. Write it down so you guys can know how far back you're being traced. And I thought about that a lot. And I'm keeping his name and his memory alive. And hopefully he's like, hey, he's a brother to me, right? Unfortunately, one day, maybe in 100 years, they're going to forget about us. Those memories are going to go. There'll be no more close relatives to us, and we're going to be, gone. But for the time being, as long as we can, I've seen families that literally disappeared in 2 generations. That's it. So we done, they move on. Uh, People aren't having kids before like how they used to. Uh, People don't go to the cemeteries. La gente no se acuerda de los muertos. Like, you just died. That's it. You know. But yeah, we forget that death is just another part of life, and life is just also part of death. It's another um, transition as human beings that we make, and everything has life. Everything, even the rocks have life, the plants have life, the animals have life, and we're all part of that. So that again, another reason why all those elements are represented on the altar, because each living thing has a cycle. Some have longer cycles, some have shorter cycles, um, but we all share that representation uh, when we create that, and we always put something of you into that. Y también hoping that when we go, somebody puts us up there too, right? Because they're better than nosotros. So, anything else? Any other questions on any of the things that you would like to put on your altar or not?
Las palabritas de dulce.
Papers are, let's see, I have get the number from last year. Just going to pass it around. Uh, Igual, es como el cacao. cacao es, las hacen de azúcar, pero también para endulzar un poco la vida, la amargura de la muerte, to take away that sour taste in your mouth. You actually to be happy that your relatives are coming, your friends are coming to come visit, and the sugar is for that, is to sweeten up, not to be so sad. So, but yeah, we're gonna have a workshop this year, making sure this goes. We talked about that, but time is too short. Maybe next year we'll get the supplies and time and put it out in the community a little bit better, so everyone can have a chance to make some, not just one, but some, and then decorate them and put them at home. If you don't drop them, they last a very long time. I had that one for like 5 years.
So
It's
that
still pretty.
takes off along the third level.
Yeah, those the sugar goes usually go with the food, yeah, with the food level, yeah, or even with the water, right? On the second level. Yeah. Probably.
What do you do when you're trying to avoid getting like ants and you want to do actual food? That's what has always been my issue. Like I tend to like wrap my food in like spam.
Yeah, you can do that. There's also tricks, natural tricks to deter ants. I heard that rice deters ants. Lavender spray. So you put lavender on your duct and make this little. Now the smoke could look pretty, but it also, like like most guys and mosquitoes, like lavender is really good for them. So it deters bugs, especially flies, mosquitoes, ants. You'll see some people sometimes too when you put that dog for 4 days and put little holes in the lights. Any other questions? Yes, most of you guys know about the copalera, right? About the copal and it represents the incense, the copal. The copal is also indigenous, especially the black copal, and yellow copal is indigenous to our lands. Pero el copal de lumo también is also para purificar, right? To purify the area. Spiritually, and it's also antimicrobial. So copal, the smoke of the copal kills germs in the air. But it also represents, when you're thinking or praying on your loved ones, that smoke is carrying up to the heavens, up to the cosmos, to where it's supposed to go. So it doesn't only clean the energy, purify the energy, but it also represents, your prayers, going up. So that's another element that I highly encourage one way or another to have on your altares feet. Besides, so to put one, if you could burn it in your home or somewhere else, great. If not, then at least a representation of that.
Si no tenemos copal, si no tenemos copal, si no tenemos una copalera,
Pueden quemar hierbas,
incienso.
incienso, también hierbitas como lavanda, rosemary, sage. Yeah, no más
okay.
copal, pero lo que son hierbas. Yeah.
I was just going to ask that if sage is okay.
No, sage is perfectly good. Yeah, it's a good cleanser, and every plant has a different purpose. Like sage has its own properties. Lavender has its own properties. Rosemary has its own properties. But at the end, it's for the same purpose. For the same purpose. Or they also now you could go to places and buy the little sticks of incense that are the ampopal, like incense. Let's see. What else? What else? Other questions?
Yeah, is the abalone shell acceptable?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just like representations of things you could burn your incense with propellant. But you could use abalone shell or different types of incense burner. It doesn't have to be something like this.
Right.
It's but to represent that element and to represent that intention is important. I feel it's very important. Any other questions? So we talked about a few of the don'ts, right? You don't eat the food. That's about
I eat the food.
No se come la comida. El agua no se toma.
Porque cuando I was little, back in El Salvador, our graves are like that, like they're being, so like later, right? Like whatever those talking like a tumbao, and it's made that way because of the things on it.
Right.
And I always be whatever.
Oh,
Mi grandma's like, "Te voy a dar a la iglesia para que te bendiga." I got so sick, like, so sick for like 2 weeks. I had like all kinds of things happen to me. Because I'm trying to
So it does happen. A lot of us don't believe that, or but even now, modern medicine or Western medicine is proving those things to actually be true, scientifically true, right? I don't know if you guys heard of a test with the water test that the Japanese scientists did. They put one glass of water in one room and another glass of water in another room. One room was bright with light and sunlight, and talk to the water. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so delicious. Thank you. It was very nice to the water. And the other room was a dark room, and he's like, oh, you're dumb. I hate you. It was very, negative to that water, to that glass of water. Within a week, within 7 days, the water that he spoke nice to, and it was in a nice, room, and was loving to it. It's completely clear, completely, water. And the other room that was dark and spoke bad to it, just by speaking to it bad, it turned brown. You got dirty, you know. So, that's how energy works. It's a lot of people, for so many years, with colonization, they try to, oh, no, that stuff is hocus pocus. That's, you Indians, this is all witchcraft. That's not true. That's, blah, blah, blah. But it's totally true. So we're all vibration. We're all made of vibration, right? We're all vibration. We're all have a certain electricity going to this. So the intention, the vibration, that vibe that we give someone. So you guys know how much percentage of water that we're made of? Like 78% of water, more or less, right? Like 74, between 74 and 70% water. So imagine if that happens to a glass of water, imagine what happens to a child. So be to him or her that, or to a person, to your significant other, when you're, constantly, letting them have, that's why we feel how we feel. Then our face and our skin and our hair starts to show it, right? Because we're made of mostly water, right? And fluids. So that energy that we give each other eventually starts to show. Not only in our minds and in our hearts, but yeah, people get rashes, people se le cae el pelo, some people, their color of their skin changes and the back of their eyes, but that's also because your chemical reaction inside of your body, which makes the most out of the water, is doing something, right? They're doing something. So you want, that's why you don't drink the water more. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff going on in there that you don't want to put into your body. So we have the power to create, but we also have the power to destroy. We can make ourselves healthy because we can make ourselves sick. Like literally, you go overthink anything, you get sick. You get stomach ache, you get diarrhea, you get vomit just from being nervous and being anxious. Or you can make yourself, well, just by positive thoughts and reassurance, so then you feel a lot better. Breathing, I feel better. I have a friend, when I first started doing danza in Hayward, the rec center that we used to practice at, it was a private place. And the guy that owned it, Raul Navavilla, he's actually a relative of the real Pancho Villa. Look him up. Raul Navavilla. He got really sick. He had intestinal cancer, and they gave him 6 months to live. You're gonna die. Start signing everything over to your family because you have 4 6 months to live. Yeah, he came in and literally like in 2 weeks he lost like 50 pounds like in 2 weeks just because he was so stressed and sad and like I'm going, I'm gonna die. And he told me he has can't practice anymore because I'm gonna sell my place because you give the money that I'm gonna earn from this rec center to my family because I'm gonna die. I didn't believe him. Like, are you serious about it? He told me I have more thing already. His wife, along with his wife's friend, he's like, well, if you're gonna die, we want you to go out. And so we're gonna try no chemo, no this, none of that. and she worked like at some kind of like health food store, and just with a bunch of green juices and vitamin B12. And he showed me videos of the people that were helping him when he was drinking this natural medicine and getting vitamin B12. And they were playing music, they were dancing with him, and laughing and joking and telling jokes, and he felt good going there. You know what? The guy's still alive. He's alive. He came on his way back. He sent his blood samples to Germany and to the Philippines to make sure he had any more cancer. Nothing. No trace of the cancer. And he told me he was going to die in 4 to 6 months. Italiano. It's not yet. Look at the change he's made since he's been coming. So it's real. Another thing too is that we have, now that we're talking about this, is the intention, la intención that you're putting into your altar. The first year I came here, we had altares that had balloons and put on by this real estate company, or this market. Altar shouldn't be a piece of advertising. You know, with plastic and bombitas, as natural as you can make it, or with your hands, the better, if you really put in your attention to it. Un altar shouldn't be dedicated to your business just for advertisement purposes. So that's another thing. Me personally, I'm really against that. Where another thing that is being watered down in our culture, besides our artwork and our tapestries and our clothes and our music and our food, is even this is starting to get watered down too. So I see that a lot. I see a lot of places that I go, people just put out, just para dar atención, now put up a bunch of bombas and some Halloween decoration and call it Altar de Muertos. Like I said, so let's have a little bit of more of education about it, and respect. And when you see that, you can, now that you know some of this, you can speak on it. Like, hey, what you're doing is not okay. This is very important to me and to my culture and to my family, and I think you're representing us in a very negative way. So that's another thing. And then another top of that, I'm glad you brought your child, your son, and that you brought Mateo, so they can also listen to this. And because a lot of kids are not, especially here in the U.S., they're not growing up with this. They're not growing up with this. They're chiquitos. They get into it, de grandes, like us. Me, I grew up with it because I was kind of forced to grow up with this. My grandma and my grandpa, like, every year. I didn't fully understand it, but I know I had to go along with it. But some of my cousins and other relatives, even though we're from Michoacan, even though some of them were even born there, they have little to no clue qué es un altar, porque again, the colonization, they see it as something morbid. Very, very morbid is to like celebrate death. But we're not really celebrating death. We're celebrating life. We're celebrating that person's people's life. Right? So, muy importante, cuando hacemos un altar de muertos, estamos celebrando la vida de ese persona, no la muerte. Right? No la muerte. La muerte es un reconocimiento, that we're making that conscious recognition that they are transcended, but we're celebrating them, their life, who they were, and the memory of them, not their past. Eso es muy importante. También part of the intention that you're putting into your altar, to celebrate them, who they were to you in your life, who they were in the community, and not focus on the day they passed away. Oh, that's so tragic. That was so sad. So yeah. So questions? Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but when you were talking about the total times, it reminded me of a story that my tia told me once when I was in Mexico, and she told me that I had to be nice to animals, because if I'm not nice to the animals, when I die, it's not going to help me cross the river. And I just remember she said something about like a river of blood. Like I always remember that, to just respect the animals, because they're going to help us.
Yeah.
They're going to bring for that favor.
There's bits and pieces that through family and our elders that have stayed, right? Qué bonito que todavía hay gente que todavía sigue esas tradiciones. We call them folk tales, but they're not folk tales. It's true. It's true. It's actual real history that's given to you. Danza Azteca or Danza Mexica is not something that's taught taught in school. It's a verbal, it's una tradición oral that we do within the community, within the barrios, and and it's not in high school, it's not in college. You don't go study about this and you go, oh, now my son. It's not una tradición oral has been handed down for over 400 years, and here we are now. So that works. So what your tia said and what your mom said about that, that has been happening for 5 generations, and it's still alive. So your job is, our job is to pass that down to our kids, right? Para que no se pierda, because if it dies with you, then that's it. No one's gonna know about it, right? So that's awesome. Esa experiencia that you had at your little grave when you ate the food and you got sick. You did it tell your son that, and
Like it's scary.
right. But it shouldn't be scary. But yeah, stuff like that. It's to just when you plant that seed, it's gonna grow. As slow as it does sometimes, it's gonna grow. So that's also very important. Starting from like the little ones there. Sometimes they want to run around and get the sugar skulls open like every committee. You don't eat the sugar skulls. Those aren't for eating. The the um the stuff that goes in here is not edible. The only thing edible about it is the sugar. Everything else, yeah, everything else is not edible. So I don't recommend. You give it to your kids afterwards so they can go play and eat because they're gonna get a tummy ache. So you don't eat the sugar skulls. Um, what else? Some people like to put mirrors. I've heard people. Some people like to put mirrors on their altares. Again, the so your soul, so the people coming in to see themselves. But I also heard another an opposite of that it's not good. It's to have that reflection. It can put them like a espantar, right? They could actually mirror back and do a U-turn. Let's go back. So that's more, I think, more of like a personal choice of what you believe in. Um, so what are the white flowers for?
It's
It's, what are the red flowers represent? Blood, right? The sangre, which also represents life. No one's like sangre, like, oh my God, blood. So the red represents life and the. So when you go to danza velación, which we're gonna go to one this Friday, they always hacen una cruz to present the four directions and to welcome in the animas. The, for the most part, the cruz tiene flores blancas y flores rojas. Right? Flores blancas para las ánimas y flores rojas para la sangre, which represents life, right? Death and life. So it's not like actual blood, but let's see what else. Any other questions you guys have about what not to do or not to add to your attendance for any of that?
Except, right. Except for the people who just passed in the last year, you don't put their pictures up. You put them on the ground. They're welcome, or
No.
it's not a.
So a lot of folks do, but traditionally, and I've asked this to many different people from different parts of Mexico, like from Oaxaca, like for instance, from Oaxaca, I'm from Michoacan, but I think from like Jalisco, from Hidalgo, and a lot of people have the same kind of knowledge, say, that kind of same information from different people from different places, and it's all pretty similar. So the people that just passed away, are still in that transition. So if you passed away before November, before October 30th, then you shouldn't put that offering for that person on that diet because they're not done with their dream, right? So from last November to this November, they're still going through that transition. So right now they're basically not in limbo, but they're basically just being helped to cross still. So they're not ready to come back, right? They're ready to come back and visit. So that's why you don't put them on the Dia De Los Muertos. Actually, you could put them at home in your house to remember them, just to have them there. But if you're gonna make an ofrenda specifically for Dia De Los Muertos, there shouldn't be on that specific ofrenda because those days are with other spirits come back to. Claudia.
You mentioned, no balloons. What are some other like big notes besides the numbers as far as like when you're saying like your friend?
Halloween decorations.
No,
Plastics, like, yeah, it's like plastics, Halloween, generic decorations. Papel picado, like you said, even though it's plastic or paper, best it's paper, but papel picado is always nice to have because it also represents the element of the air and the colors. Plantas, if you're gonna make an arco, I mean, if you don't have enough marigolds or paper marigold that you can make, also you could do it con palmas. In muchas partes like Mexico, or Central America, they use palm tree branches to make the arches, and then decorate those. But try to go it more like organic. Think about which we would use 100 years ago. 150 years ago, we didn't have the plastic, or plastics, plastic stuff, right? So as much as it can go organic, the the better. Keeps it more traditional and it keeps it more
we
money.
can dim the lights in here a little bit. It's like we're setting it talk about it in here. We can dim the lights so that we're able to see like we have like the little candles.
Yeah, so the people from the rec center are kind of in charge of that. For that particular day on November 2nd, when we have the festival, I think all lights will be on. But the rec center will be open since the day before and the day after. So your altar will be here for 3 days. I mean, to show to the public.
Yeah.
You can set it up from, I think it's like from that Monday or Tuesday, you can set it up, leave it here, but it'll be shown to the public, I think, for 3 days. So if you set it up, so Friday, people can come in and check it out, and of course Saturday, and Sunday they're closed, but then Monday they're open again, so I thought it was too big.
So how does that work? I heard you said that you're gonna have it inside and out.
Yeah,
So-
so what they're trying to do here, which I think is a fantastic idea, they're also being cautious of the weather. I know the first year that we did dance outside, it was super cold, it was about to rain, and it started raining, and it got really cold, so everybody came inside. So luckily we had space available, so they didn't cut the festival like we wanted had a festival for 1 hour, and now everybody has to go home because it got so windy and cold.
Right, right.
They had all this openings, and this year they're going to have not just the outside parking lot area and stage, but in here to show the Tales in here, and also they're going to have some shows by the folklorico and mariachi in the theater too. So like last year, so it'll be all through here into the theater and all the way outside. So all the space is going to be utilized
Okay.
That would be here only.
here and outside.
And so how is that is going to be outside?
So
Yeah.
that day, but once outside, you have to set up that day and turn on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
You have to be down there.
Yep.
Will tables be provided for each person or?
Yeah, they have tables here for the altares. Right here, it's on the table.
The only thing they'll have to bring is their own levels though, huh?
Yeah, that the other part will have to be provided by you. So you can bring bring boxes or put boxes together or milk crates. I use those work very well because they stack up nicely.
Yeah.
Milk crates.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and you also just break them down and put stuff in it, which take with food. Serve little
No crates.
and any other questions? Julie, you have any questions? Kelly, you have any questions?
Is there a deadline to send up your request?
Nope. I think that the week of, I would imagine that. So is there a deadline for I thought,
Sure.
no fee. Me preguntas. Señor, gusten verla. Pregúnteme. That question, I don't know what we're talking about. She likes it, but she's scared.
Yeah.
So supposedly it's a death whistle. It was used by warriors to scare their opponents, their enemies. Want to hear it? You want to hear it? I'll do it slow. Better go much louder.
Because we were watching it on YouTube, so
Yeah.
we had the volume on. Yeah.
So for everybody watching, can you let them know what, when, where, and how they can be a part of it?
Sure. So we're at the Nick Rodriguez Center here in Antioch, downtown. On the Parks and Recreation website, there's the links to where you could sign up for the altares, or you could come actually here to the rec center and do the paper application. There's no fee; it's absolutely free. They provide one table and one 10 by 10 area uh, in this space and also outside. So you'll basically have a 10 by 10 area to do your to do your altar. You know, you could go up and you could go up as high as the ceiling, but you go only go out 10 feet, 10 feet that way and 10 feet this way. Like a 10 by 10. That'll be the size of of your, your friends. And it'll be the solar, you could set up that week of. This is going to be kind of it's kind of tricky on, I think it's Thursday's Halloween, so that day they're closed. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you could set up, and that Friday, which is I believe is the first, you could set up, and then want to do it sooner the better, so that way you could get more exposure. And then on Saturday, all day from I think from about 2 p.m. this will be open and outside until we close. Everything will be
Okay.
displayed to the public.
How are the judges judging the tables?
I'm not sure about that. We're not talking about that part. But are they giving us some kind of like reconocimientos for the altares here this year?
They are going to be doing that first after the price.
So yeah, there'll be a first, second, and third prize. I'm not sure who's going to be the judges. It might be some of us. So I encourage you guys to take notes. So encourage on originality, on who was traditionally on traditional aspect of the altar, and I don't know what else, but you know, not sure who's going to be exactly the judges for that day, but I'm sure that day they'll probably pick certain people to be the judges, and they'll pick first, second, and third prize like Julie said. I don't know what the prizes are, but they're big prizes.
Nice.
Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Able to burn fun that day.
You can. We're lucky that this in this space that we can work from. Yeah, the smoke sensors are not very
It's gonna be smoky in here.
Yeah, so we smoke it up pretty good in here during the practice. In a good way.
Yeah. And if somebody can't find what's you call it, gopal,
Yeah,
can they get it from you?
They could bring sage, or they could bring like I said, incense, like incense sticks or incense. What do they call it?
Oh, the cones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could do that. We could do that too.
Will you be selling some copal that day, or you have?
I believe so. I believe we have planned to have a puesto outside,
Okay.
but with everybody else, so we'll have some stuff there.
Sounds good.
We'll definitely have a bunch of sage bundles for sure. That and copal. Any other questions? Another announcement. We're doing the Julie and Claudia started decorating in the front window, and that'll be there to the end of November. So we'll be there for a whole month. Well, this month and part to the end of November until I start decorating for Christmas. They don't really decorate for Thanksgiving, but we do decorate for Christmas. So towards the end of November, they have to take it down. But everybody's welcome to put in what they want over there. So if you guys want to bring pictures or more flowers, we need like a ton of more flowers. This is just the beginning. So yes, the bring stuff doesn't pictures or something else that you want to put on the out there for the community. Yes, we can do that. And anybody watching could do the same thing too. And anything else? Otra cosa, Nancy? Para que estamos aquí. Richie? No questions so far?
Yeah.
Mateo? Favela?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I try to consolidate. Yeah, because I try to consolidate I know it's a lot. You could spend like an hour just explaining each level, you know. But yeah, you know, if you guys recorded a little bit or took some notes, you know, I encourage you just to do, you know, not just one, you know, website or whatever, one book, and do your research because the traditions vary from Oaxaca to Michoacan to Guanajuato to Guadalajara. You know, they're very similar, but they vary. You know, but they vary, so it's good to get different points of view, different types of traditions for different places, um, so you can have like a more rounded view of it, not just one. Oh, it's because I'm from here, and this is what we do here, and that's the way it is. There's very many ways to do it. But in the end, the the meat and potatoes of it, you know, we build it like that with the good intention to welcome our relatives and friends back. That is represents to remember their life, not their death, and also to include all the elements, also to honor, you know, all the elements,
Right.
wind, water, fire, in the like, essentially we're all part of all of those. So that's why we represent them in all those levels. And we don't only represent, you know, just the grandparents, because old people are the only ones that die, right? No people that pass away, women, men, uh, you know, in different ways. I have this poster up that I'm gonna put up in the altar, and it kind of illustrates a little bit of what I was talking about. But just so you can have a visual of it. Half of it shows like different levels of the underworld, you know, with the sholo, the people walking down to the underworld, and the other part of it shows you how um, the different ways of that people pass away. So there's women who are pregnant that die in birth. There's a tree of life with a bunch of little babies on the tree. They look like fruit, but it's actual babies. Those are the babies that weren't born. You know, and then there's guerreros in the sky, eagle warriors and jaguar warriors, representing men and women who passed away, like battle, tragically, the violent deaths. And then there's the sun and the moon, right? So um, that supposed to be up there, and the more you look at it, the more you'll find it. It's very beautiful. Ernesto almost made a painting that I actually helped him make, and it's huge. It's like it's like 8 feet by 12 feet long. It's really big. It's a really big mural. But he made some prints of it. I have a pretty good sized poster. I'll put it out there for you guys to check out.
Right.
Anything else? How about you way in the back over there? You're very quiet. Yeah. Any questions? Any curiosity of anything about this? Yeah. Nancy.
Los animalitos, las fotos de los animalitos pueden ir con las fotos de los
Sí, con la gente.
con-
Nombritos Carlos.
No, that's it.
I look forward to seeing you at that.
I know. I'm excited. Oh man, I went to the store and bought way more stuff to get to. I think I bought all their orange tissue.
No, it's all good. The more the brighter it is, the better. Just remember what's behind me. Those bright colors.
Right.
Um,
But the colors are orange, yellow, and red.
yeah, I mean the marigolds come in, you know, naturally come in yellow or orange colors, but you can also incorporate as far as flowers go, you know, white and red flowers.
Okay.
Because of what they represent. Um, but yeah,
Sounds good.
usually on the arches, we like to use yellow and orange because it represents, you know, the sunrise and sunset. Orange and red.
Well, each ofrenda or ofrenda, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Is that one of the mandatory things is to have an arch?
Yeah. So if I was a judge, I would expect something of that sort to be represented in your.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't have to be round. It could be square, or like this shape. You know, kind of like triangle shape. There's many shapes you can make it, but it's basically you're making like an archway, or a walkway for them to go back home.
Or pyramid?
Yeah, like a pyramid. Yeah. Yeah. As long as you have that representation, you know, whether it's
Yeah.
tall or small, but you can have it like, you know, here, but you know, that's what it represents.
Oh, also, I read that sand or dirt at the bottom, people put that there too. There ain't gonna be no dirt or sand in here though, huh?
No, so one year we used the wood chips. Yeah, we use like the mulch, like wood chips, but we put like something under
A tarp or
a tarp or
something.
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
We also used,
No, so we can't use
petals.
pedals. Yeah, we use pedals. So if for example, if like who asked? I think you asked, right? Or somebody else, right? Uh,
Okay.
about the altar outside. So if you're setting up your altar for that one day, from the morning to the evening, you know, and you want to do your ofrenda at the bottom, like I've done that before. I used different colored beans, you know, beans or you know like
Out there.
yeah, because they have to pick up, set up and pick up that same day. But in here they don't let us because there's mice, you know, mice and bugs.
So on the day of the event, we can still make it up until the time it starts, or no?
I think that yeah, if you're doing it outside. Then,
No, if you get a spot outside right here, are they gonna let us know?
yeah, you can just there's still plenty of spots. Yeah, you can just request it. Yeah.
So if we get a spot in,
If you're down to do two, you can do two. One is that we're on the outside.
if
Plenty
we're
of space.
if we're inside, there's no real fruit or no real food, huh?
No, but only the day up.
I could bring in the day of.
The day up. The day up, you can have it there on your dot, and then when you before you leave, the event
Gotta
closes,
take it.
take it back. With. But the day up, you could put like real pan, you know, or fruta or whatever. The day up, but you just have to take it with.
Seen a lot of bananas.
Yeah,
A lot.
yeah. You can bring real flowers
Plátano.
inside. That flowers are fine. It's just a few.
And a couple. Sorry, good.
Comida para nuestros altares podemos poner.
Yeah.
Solo sería.
Solo sería. Si van a poner, si quieren representar la comida por todo el tiempo que va a estar aquí, tiene que ser, you know, sintético. Pero flores naturales las pueden poner, ajá, candles, they can stay, but not lit. En otra
The
cosa también, with the candle situation, um, again, you know, I recommend you put them to have that of the candles, but if you're not gonna have them on till the next day, like don't even light them, you know, because
electric candles.
little lamps. Yeah, you can use those. Yeah.
Yeah, last time we used the little tea lights, you know, from the Dollar Tree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Keep those. Keep those. If you got three real candles, you can definitely put them on your dot. Just don't light them. Anything else? What else?
Is La Catrina mandatory for the ofrenda?
No, actually, that's not part of the offense.
No?
No, the Catina is just basically more of a prop. Yeah, something of a prop.
They have about a nice one today too.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
You can incorporate it in your altar, but it's not mandatory.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not mandatory.
I'll show you after.
It's more of a prop, but yeah, definitely. So we're gonna put you put a skeleton out there, but we're gonna dress him up like an athlete dancer. Yeah, yeah. So you'll be out there. Let's see. Another thing that you could put on your altar is also too with the water element is salt. A lot of times put salt on their altar. Besides the water, a little bowl of salt or a little cross of salt
Yeah.
next to your water. Yeah, it's everything I forgot to mention. Salt.
You don't think you guys pop the wall? You use that and color, like different color. And we use to make like a lot of drugs, like different design of we color it with. I don't think it's colors, but it's like turn the song.
Any other questions? parents. I used to all the time.
Right on time.
But thank you guys for coming. Those of you who came, whatever adults you took and you want to share with your family or friends, and if you have any more questions, you can always contact me or we can go into specifics, more. Uh, but yeah, share with each other at home, share with your friends at school, and let's keep the tradition going. Thank you for showing up. Y también